is Squeeb, and welcome to my podcast where I travel around the multiverse and talk to my friends. Today, my friend looks like a normal person, but you wouldn't tell just by looking at him. Their parents are trees. Welcome, Bud, to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So excited to be here.
It is really great having you on the program. I know we've been trying for a few years to get you on here.
Oh, absolutely. I'm keeping myself busy. The trees are always, talking and talking and talking. And, sometimes it just gets, your consciousness gets a little bit blurred by what the plants have to say. It's hard.
Oh, I can imagine, whenever we hang out, a lot of times it's us talking and then you laugh and turn to a tree and make some comment to them.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't, developed the ability to talk to the trees yet. However, I think evolution is heading that way. So pretty soon, I'm thinking everyone's going to be talking to trees at some point.
Now, is this because the trees will speak a language that others can understand? Um, or is it that humans will gain that processing to be able to speak with these trees?
Well, in all honesty, how the trees work, at least to my understanding,
Yeah,
is there's a little root system and they vibrate at a frequency that humans have not been able to process yet. However, the more further we go in evolution, the more we're able to pick up on those frequencies. People pretend they know how to speak. They don't quite know it yet. Yet, mark my words.
I see, I see. So you understand the trees because of the roots and the vibrations of them.
Yes. It's kind of like when you're learning how to speak, whatever your native language is. You grow up with your parents speaking and you kind of pick up on it. Well, my parents, they kind of just vibrated. They hummed and I picked up on those. It took me a really long time to learn how to do this. I
I
kind of
see.
just stared at people for a while.
Yeah, now, do trees speak a different language than other types of plants and foliage?
There's a little bit of nuance to it. So sometimes it differs between the trees. I'm able to pick up on pine trees because that is what, both my mom and my dad are. But my cousins and my uncles, like the oaks and the firs and, the aspen trees, it's just a little bit of like, when you go further down south, you tend to get more of a twang. Some more things happen. When you're speaking to a shrub or like a hydrangea bush, they're going to speak slightly different, higher frequencies.
I
But either way, as long as you understand one, you can kind of figure out what the others are saying.
I see, I see. Now, I do have another question
Hmm.
that was recently brought to my attention with one of my previous guests on here. They're a plant from the planet Plant. I'm sure you're aware
Oh,
of
yes.
Plant. Now, I heard that they have a war against trees there. Is that true on Earth as well? Is that a well-known thing, or is that more so their issue?
Well, it hurts my heart to hear about the stuff that's going on plant. We don't necessarily on Earth have a war on trees, but people have a certain disrespect for them. They just think, yeah, we're going to use them to build our houses. We're going to burn them for fuel. We're going to just, do all that stuff. And that makes me upset. I don't think it's necessarily a specific war on trees, but it's definitely not good. I don't appreciate what they're doing.
I see, I see. So, whenever you see a house made out of wood, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel so inexplicably upset. It draws on emotions that I have not felt before in my young years. And then I think at least they're being used for something decent. They're taking care of people. But why would you go and do that to a tree? I think that is the worst thing a person could do.
I see, I see. Now, do you think that there are other materials to build houses out of? Like, are metals, the rocks, good house?
Yeah, I think rocks and concrete and all that stuff, they build fine houses. I mean, a lot of my friends live in ones made of plaster and all that. You know what? Some people still prefer trees. I don't think they're the best at making. Don't tell them I said that. I think they're great for many things, just not houses.
I see, I see. What
Mm-hmm.
are some good things that they're what are some things they're good at?
Okay, so you know what's really cool about trees? They are weirdly good at like telling jokes and they're really good at telling stories to people. But of course, we don't know how to understand them for the most part. So people haven't realized that yet, but they're really good at that.
Are there any kind of tree myths or stories or legends that have been passed on that any tree would know?
Oh, absolutely. We have a whole lore, we have a whole thing that we have to go into. You learn it when you're a young sprout. One thing that I've and I'm a firm believer in. You're Mount Olympus, like the gods live at the top of the mountain, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a lie. Mount Olympus, where all the tree gods are, where the redwoods are, big tall trees. That's the one. That's where all of our tree gods live. That's where they all grow, and they will be there for the rest of our entire mortal lives.
So every redwood tree is essentially a god.
Yep.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Are they gods
Mm-hmm.
of different aspects of tree life, or are they all just powerful godlike beings?
They are all just powerful godlike beings. Their root networks are all knowing. They have omnipotent roots.
Wow, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Now, is there a way that someone can ascend to be a redwood? I assume that they grow naturally, is that like a reincarnation? Is a god
Yeah.
chosen?
Yeah, no. So a lot of that tends to come from the reincarnation mindset. When a tree gets felled or a tree dies, it goes back into the earth from whence it came. And then, you know, the life cycle takes care of it. You have your worms and you have your roaches that kind of, what's it called? They take the tree into soil, and then the soil stays to be weathered, eroded away, and then it finds itself in the redwood forest. And then something comes along, the tree starts to grow, and boom, a little maple tree is turned into God.
Wow, wow, that's fascinating. And in tree lore, in tree religion, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
are there any taboos that trees must not do, like a Ten Commandments type situation?
Right. We don't necessarily have 10 of them, but a lot of it is kind of just like mind your business. A lot of what we believe is, don't stick your roots into other people's business. Don't sources trees. I swear it was a good for nothing tree. Kept stealing everybody's water, kept stealing the birds, kept stealing the pollinators. That's a big no in tree culture.
I see, I see. And
Yeah.
sorry, what was that?
No, I just think it's like a big thing against trees.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I am curious, in human um religion, there is a big thing of
Mm-hmm.
not spilling your seed, but for trees, it seems like all of them do that quite literally. Is that something that in
Yeah.
tree culture is kind of wanted, and desired?
Yeah. As trees are becoming more and more scarce, unfortunately, you know, kind of survive whatever mess we're going through right now, especially with things that are going on, whether humans have anything to do with it or not. You have fires, you have floods, you have whatever. You got to make sure that we have people to carry on the different legacies and the lore and the religion and whatnot. So it's not exactly frowned upon.
Well, that's really progressive of those trees.
Absolutely. They usually are.
Well, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. They seem like environmentalists. Um,
Hmm.
I can see why people get the name tree hugger, for a reason.
Yes. I've heard all about those movements back then. And honestly, my parents talk about how they miss the days when people would chain themselves to trees, like, don't cut them down. I think we need more of those in the world.
I see. So those activists are very much so helping with the trees and are greatly appreciated.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Are there any movements that, while well intentioned, don't necessarily translate over as helpful to trees?
You know, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I do know that a lot of people have a misconception that trees are a renewable source of energy. And so, they go and they take the oil and they think, no, we need to use trees for fuel. Why are you trying to kill my family? Like, no, we can only do so much. we There's not much we can do if you decide to take an axe or a chainsaw and just cut down a whole forest.
Yeah, that sounds like a really harmful
Mm-hmm.
stereotype. Might be
Yes.
the right word for that.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry for your loss in that.
We're kind of used to it. We just kind of move on at this point. Like, we have a little moment of silence, and then we're just like, all right, well, time to reproduce. Not me. I can't do that. But
So that does bring another question
mhm.
to me. Are you unable to reproduce at all? Could you reproduce a human that's similar to you that could
I
never?
don't know. I haven't met anybody else in my circumstance. Uh, I truly don't know. I would love to meet somebody else who's like me and actually, figure out how all this works. But as far as I know, I'm 100% tree. So whatever trees do, I guess.
I see, I see.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have a way of replicating what trees do to reproduce.
Mm-mm.
That's very sad. I'm really sorry, bud.
Oh, I don't care. It's easier for me. I just kind of live my life. I get to be an activist for the trees, and I just get to hang out with my parents. It's fine.
I completely understand that as, there's only one squeeb alive
Mm-hmm.
at a time, so I can't reproduce without dying. So,
Right. And then, so at that point, you can spend your efforts to make really good friends. We have a whole thing going on, and we know who needs people like us when we can make friends with a bunch of different people.
yeah, it really is refreshing whenever we hang out because
Hmm.
we'll usually go to some beautiful little village and we'll
Hmm.
make tons of friends.
Exactly. People are so close-minded. They're always thinking, "Oh, we gotta, meet people like us." No, opposites attract. You gotta meet people. They're more interesting if they're not like you. We get to have more talks. It's great.
Exactly, and it is really nice that you have this prolonged lifespan,
Hmm.
because I live a long time too, so it's nice to have a stable friend like you in my.
Yes. I was gonna say, I don't think we've ever talked about how old we are. How old are you? I feel like that's an appropriate question.
Yeah, yeah, well, you know, a squeeb is kind of interesting, right? Because when we
Yes.
first met, I was a different squeeb,
Right.
you know, and then I died, and my
Hmm.
current form is on year 542.
Good for you. You don't look a day over 250.
Oh, stop it. You don't mean that.
Oh, I do.
My skin is naturally moisturizing, so.
Oh, I wish. My skin is always like bark dry. I need to get like all that fancy stuff. My dermatologist hates me.
Yeah, well, I run a spa inside of my liminal space.
What can't you do? Really? I have friends in high places.
Yeah, if you ever want to take a trip,
Mhm.
inside of me, then, my natural juices and oozes do
Mm,
have a moisturizing quality, and everything that comes out of me is a little bit softer.
wow. That sounds like a delightful time, truly.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I know that you get stuck in patterns, but it would be fun for you to try
Mhm.
something new.
I would love to try something new. Patterns are exhausting.
Yeah, I can imagine. What is your normal day-to-day ritual like? I feel like whenever we hang out, we go and do something fun.
Yeah. That's not the normal. The usual is, it usually starts at night. I go dormant for a couple hours, and as soon as the sun comes over, I wake up with my parents, my cousins, my siblings, uncles, aunts, whatever you call my entire family. We photosynthesize for a few hours. I can go about my day because I have actual legs and, I can move, but most of my day is spent photosynthesizing, and then I go back to bed. It's really boring. So I like when you come around, I can actually go do things.
So, what's stopping you from doing stuff in your normal day-to-day?
Wow. That's very a profound question.
Thank
Um,
you.
I don't know. I think it's a lot of, I got to do what my parents expect of me. I'm not exactly I don't look like a tree, so I have to do what I can to, be the tree that I technically am. And they set a certain routine for me, certain expectations. And, I love my family a lot, so I don't want to disappoint them. But now that you mention it, they don't exactly put up a fight whenever I do leave to go out with you. So I don't think more breaks in routine could be bad.
Yeah, I think that you have a lot to offer. I think that you have a very unique set of skills in that you can talk to these trees, you can communicate and kind of act as a translator. You know,
Wow.
you could really go to a big city and do some advocacy work.
I've always wanted to go to a city. I feel like they do need a lot more of that. You are so smart. No, what? I don't know where you get it from. You're wise. You're a wise squeeb.
Well, I do retain the knowledge of all of my past
Mm-hmm.
squeebs whenever they die. It takes some time to restore, about 150 years to come.
Right.
But at this age, I remember about everything that my former selves have remembered. And so
Wow.
I have, an infinite amount of wisdom, really.
That's impressive. I can't even remember what 2 plus 2 is half the time. My God.
It's four.
You've blown my mind now 3 times in this whole conversation.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I'm good at blowing minds.
It's so crazy. I need to get out more.
You do. Hey, you remember when we went to Cedar Point?
Yes, I remember when we went to Cedar Point.
And you remember when we went not on the wooden coasters, not
Mm-mm.
those, but the metal ones?
The metal ones. No, Mine Ride. I'm coming after that one first. But no, when we went on the Millennium Force, I swear I could have been a redwood. I felt like God.
Yeah,
I conquered the laws of physics.
you did. You
That was so
really did.
cool. I don't know how they figured that out. That's insane.
And remember when we went to a Home Depot and burned it down?
Oh my gosh. That was such a good birthday gift. I don't think I've ever had a birthday like that in my since.
Yeah, it. I knew it would be special to you. It,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just essentially a tree graveyard.
It is. A lot of us, you could still hear the past vibrations of what they said before they got turned into 2x4s. And so listening to them be freed was a wonderful experience for me.
Wow, I never knew they could
Mm-hmm.
retain those voices.
Mm-hmm.
Did,
It's quite haunting.
I can imagine. Is it like a horror movie almost?
It was at first, but again, you kind of get used to it.
I see. I
Because a
see.
lot of them have accepted their situation. A lot of them know they're going to be put to use and they're not just going to sit there. But the ones who do sit there, those are the ones that you got to look out for.
I see. So there were some two by fours that even attempt to communicate to you as you were walking past.
It's just, I don't know. Some of the things I can't even repeat because they're mad. They're mad.
I can imagine. Were there any words of wisdom that any of them bestowed upon you?
A lot of one of the two by fours, I don't remember what kind of tree it was, and it really sucks that I don't. Uh, but it was very profound. It was an old tree. And when I walked past, he said something along the lines of, you just have to do what you can with the time that you're given. And I asked, well, do you miss being a full tree? And he's, yes, there are times that he did miss it, but he lived a very long life of a couple hundred years. He did what he could. He provided homes, he provided food, and he's content with where he is in life. So he said, as long as I can do that or say that at the end of my life, then I have lived a successful life. And then
Wow.
we burnt the Home Depot to the ground and set all of them free. So,
Now that is a full life, if you ask me.
absolutely.
And we can go and do more of those trips way more often, bud.
Squeeb, I would love to do that.
And you can even pick the activity.
There's so many possibilities.
What is something that you've always wanted to do?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I heard somebody walking through our part of the woods. And I think they were a couple. They were on a date, and they said they wanted to go to this place called started with a C, and it looked like they wanted to go to a place called Chili's. And I think trying whatever they have at Chili's might be a religious experience for me.
I see. I see. So just trying the food is what you're looking for.
Yes,
Okay.
I want to get immersed in true human culture. I've spent my time with trees, but we talked about the beginning of our conversation. You got to meet new people. You got to learn about different people. What better way to learn about people than go to Chili's?
You're exactly right. And we could hang out around the chili. We don't have to go inside of the chilies.
Ooh, like you're suggesting a little bit of people watching.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
So
I
that
love
we
that.
we sit on the outside. We don't have to go and sit at a booth.
Yes.
We can stay outside. Where you can photosynthesize.
Wow.
And you don't have to see what a table is. I mean,
Yeah.
um, I, I, do you know what a table is?
I've heard the word before, and I've been told that I don't want to know what it is,
I,
but I
I,
don't.
I don't think you'd enjoy tables.
What's a table? Let
Um,
me down easy, Squeeb.
ooh, how do I phrase this? It's where people eat.
Okay.
It's a flat surface that you put things onto,
Okay. Okay. That doesn't sound
and it's made out of wood.
awful. Oh, they kill trees for that?
Yeah.
They just have to sit. Oh,
Well, they do sit on chairs,
okay.
which are usually made out of wood.
That's actually awful. What? Whoever invented tables and chairs, I'm going to hunt them down. That is my new mission.
Yeah, well, I do have a friend
Mm-hmm.
who is dead who I think did invent tables and chairs.
You better hope I never meet them because it's going to be on site.
Well, they are dead now. They talk to.
Okay.
I am friends with somebody who works at Purgatory. Uh,
Oh, well, good for you.
yeah, yeah, and he interviewed the guy that invented them. So
Okay.
he
Well,
is dead now.
good. Deserved it. Had it coming to him.
Yeah, and he's I'm not. I won't go. I shouldn't break the specifics of an after.
You know what? I feel like there's a certain kind of NDA contract to it, so I
Exactly.
get it.
Yeah. He also made the Trojan horse.
Oh, what the hell is a Trojan horse?
Ooh,
You know what? By that reaction, I'm going to assume I'm not going to like that one either.
yeah. It was like a house.
Okay,
It was a giant horse that
right.
people were inside of.
Okay,
And it was snuck into a city, and then
all
people
right.
got out when they were inside the city, and then they killed everybody in the city. And that horse was made out of wood.
Why? What? Why is wood always used for such awful purposes? What did we do? We literally just grew into a horse, and people said, "Yes, we're going to make a horse to kill people with." And
I
make it make sense.
I agree with you, bud. I agree with you. There's such undignified ways of using wood. Um,
Yes,
some people do sculpt things. Make
I
art.
have seen those before.
How do you feel about those?
It depends how they've sourced their wood. A lot of times when people do like those little sculptures, they'll find some of the dead trees and they'll kind of repurpose their wood, or they'll find little twigs or branches on the ground that have fallen off and they'll whittle something out of it. And a lot of times, sometimes they bring them back and leave them in the woods. So it's nice to see my family be repurposed into something really nice. People are really talented with it. But then sometimes people cut down whole trees to make these like commercialized things, and that doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
But the actual people who take the time to do it, I'm like, thank you for respecting my family like that.
So so it is a thing and a sign of respect.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just, you could go into the dirt, and that's a pretty, one-way ticket to becoming a redwood at some point. But who's to say you can't make a couple of stops along the way?
Yeah. And when a tree gets reborn
Hmm?
again, um are they always become a redwood, or do they sometimes become like an oak tree or a maple or something like that? And is there a hierarchy of trees?
you know, it's a little bit of like again, I said sometimes you can go straight to redwood. Those are like holy trees. Those trees have been incredible their entire lives, and then they can go straight to redwood. But sometimes take a couple stops along the way. Each time you become a different tree, whether you step in oak, go to a willow, or go to a flowering magnolia, whatever you become, you learn something along the way. You learn about the other trees in the area. And the more trees you become, the closer you get to becoming a redwood. It's quite lovely.
I see. Now, is there a perfect kind of tree job outside of redwood? Like, that one tree on a college campus that people study under. Is that a good
Yes.
tree, or is that like bottom of the barrel? Like, are Christmas trees good or bad?
No, I honestly, trees kind of believe as long as you can have a purpose, you've done it right. The only trees that we really don't particularly love is like the ones that harbor those invasive species. Sometimes they can't help it, but like the ones who actively try to keep them, that's kind of bottom of the barrel. But your campus trees, they're great. The one that has like a park bench under it at your favorite park, great trees. There's one that kids build tree houses in all the time. Sure, it's a little convoluted because they're using wood to build the tree house, but it all has a purpose. So, everyone has a part to play, and as long as you play it well and do it with a little bit of soul, you've done it right.
And I would assume that those trees are one step closer to becoming a redwood.
Absolutely.
I see. Well, Bud, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And
Absolutely. I've been so excited.
I've been waiting all week for this.
Oh, same.
And if anybody here wants to buy any of my juices, you can use the discount code BUD for 20% off any of my juices.
I'm going to be using that code.
You better, you little stinker.
Listen, I have to support a fellow friend. I know what we got a little thing going on. We're good. I got you.
And I really appreciate all the support that you've given me throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
You were one of the driving forces behind me starting this podcast and saying that I should get my voice out there, and I really appreciate that.
What if I cried right now? What if?
What if, man? Oh, you. I tried something there. I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't.
I loved that. That was wonderful.
Really? You mean,
Yes. Oh, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, down to my roots.
wow, down to your roots?
You got a lot going for you, Squeeb.
Well, I try.
And succeed. You're not just trying, you're trying and succeeding.
I'm not as stoic as you are, but I,
It comes with the genes.
you're right. You're right. It does. And I shouldn't be so critical of myself.
No, you really shouldn't.
Well, you know what? Next year for your birthday, we're gonna go and do something fun.
That sounds like a date. That sounds wonderful. Let's do it.
Sounds great. Oh, see you there.
And we will see you there.